It's tempting to kind of put Anthony Richardson in a box and say, well, yeah, he sprays the ball all over the place. He's got glimmers of potential, but nothing more than that. It's a lot more than that. He does some surreal things with his arm. He obviously does some surreal things with his legs. But I think he has shown some development in learning Shane Steichen's offense in the offseason. So we'll go through his accuracy, the RPOs, and then I think one critical issue that popped up in the preseason that the Colts might not have ironed out by week one. I do feel good about the Texans. I went to BetUS. I picked the Texans at -1, put down a reasonable and responsible amount of money on it, and I locked that baby in. BetUS will give you a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Just use my link below. They've got the fastest payouts in the biz, and you can get your own personal account manager. So let's hop right into Anthony Richardson. All right. Whoa, not that fast. My God. Hold on a second, everybody. Jeez, that was breakneck pace, wasn't it? I'm not used to that. Don't worry, it's going to get sloppy. Yeah, the old messy and sloppy Seth on the live streams that you know and love is here for you. Let me back that up a little bit. It does. It's everything that you know about Anthony Richardson, except like a more polished version, I think, this year. And one of the big issues that will pop up is going to be whether or not he's on the same page with his wide receivers and tight ends. And some of the things that have been labeled as inaccuracy in the preseason, I think have actually been more about guys not being on the same page. I want to start off with a really good play that he had, one that I didn't really appreciate until I went back and watched on the TV copy, actually. But, all right, looks well, easy crosser, right, to A.D. Mitchell. It's a little bit more than that. If you watch, okay, can he anticipate blitz? This was good by the Bengals. I think Richardson anticipates blitz by this linebacker off to our left. And instead of blitzing, that backer picks up what Richardson thinks is going to be the hot route. They end up blitzing from the offense's right. And then Richardson pops over to the right, sees Mitchell coming across on this mesh, and boop. But watch this. Like, this is the stuff. This is the stuff that you tell guys they shouldn't do, but then Richardson goes and does it. He's midair while he throws it, and it's a perfect throw. And good job by Mitchell. We'll show some more of him looking more like a rookie in a little bit. But I want to show this 2-play sequence. I'm going to give you the whole rigmarole of everything here with Anthony Richardson. It's also important to point out that this was versus, this is too much of me. Suppress the ego, Seth. Suppress the ego. All right. So this is a 2-play sequence. First, he's looking deep.
Nice play fake. Looks, checks it down.
Fails it. So but I do think that this is something that pops up a little bit. He's got his eyes downfield. He's going against the Colts second and third stringers. Half these guys, the Bengals, half these guys aren't on the team anymore. But then just because he's got such ridiculous arm talent, sometimes you just whip it out there, right? No. But then the next play, and don't worry, I know Colts fans have been brought here via the algorithm. Listen, bros. I applaud you for having internet and everything. I've got some really good Anthony Richardson plays in here, but this was the notable one that got on all the highlight or low light reels. The interception he threw versus the Bengals, pick 6.
But it's picked off.
And watch the.
All right, so this is.
And watch the accuracy issues. Throws the ball.
Herb Street there talks about accuracy issues. I don't believe this was an accuracy issue problem. 83 there broke to the outside after turning to the inside, and Richardson clearly thought that he was going to be parked right there. A little bit to 83's right, where if the ball, if 83 had stayed there, it wouldn't have been a pick 6.
And he puts the ball more.
See, when you turn to the inside like that, you could pivot out. I talked to Owen Daniels about a couple of these plays. Maybe you've heard of him. And this is not common.
There. And again, they're going to talk on a sideline.
So right there, I think miscommunication. So you saw the accuracy issue with the first play, then you see the miscommunication, and it's likely that it was probably on 83.
Today.
This is one that is a little bit more, again, this is either Anthony Richardson freezing in the face of a blitz or throwing a bad ball in the face of a blitz, or it's something else.
So Mitchell in the slot. Linebacker blitz blows up.
Not the end of the world. It's early in the game, but you see 49. That's the dude that lost the game for the Broncos against the Texans by getting up in CJ Stroud's face. He's blitzing, but look at the running back right there. At that point, if that running back is supposed to be in protection, he had plenty of time. I don't believe that's Jonathan Taylor, to recognize it. If not, I think he is the hot. I mean, he's definitely the hot. And this is where I don't know if Anthony Richardson still tries the overly ambitious throw here, or if he should have just gone hot. But either way, they're not doing the right thing. Let's see. This is back to my sloppy self. This is not organized. I did not write these plays down or remember which order they come in. So I have zero memory of what this play is. I put it together like 3 days ago.
A little sore after training camp. So
this is a good one. Right, this is nice. To Granson, Missouri. Okay. You're going to see Richardson, ball's gone. You see that linebacker right there on the 45-yard line? Looks like, okay, he popped it over him, right? No, like look at number 27. Starting to break on the ball as he sees Anthony Richardson open up. And, I mean, he puts that exactly where it needs to be. That's a hell of a throw, but it's also versus the Bengals backups. You could make the argument that, okay, maybe Al Shire or Christian Harris someday, in the second matchup could get there, but it's a hell of a throw. I mean, he does. I'm not just cherry picking just the good ones and just the bad ones. These are ones I thought that were kind of emblematic of the whole picture right now. So he's got that in his bag. But then here, I think there's another one that at first blush you think is an inaccurate throw.
Of the night. Richardson hangs in the pocket.
He can't connect with Mitchell, right? Like it's you see the body language afterwards. Richardson doing a little bit of the we're going to be about, and then I think Mitchell on the sideline. You can see explaining himself to his position coach, and then has the look of shame. He feels great shame right there, that moment. And if we go and watch the end zone copy, so again, this is just another time that the miscommunications have popped up. And Mitchell, obviously, we already saw one really good play out of him. He's done some really good things, but he's still a rookie. And if you watch, little stutter, and then back into it. This is another one where the ball went exactly, I think, where Richardson wanted it to go. It's not an accuracy issue. And if you look at where's Mitchell up there in the top left corner, it looks worse from this angle. I'll slow it down a little bit. Just that little hezzy. And then, boom, ball would have been there. From the sideline, I didn't think it was as glaring, but so miscommunication and or not being on the same page as your receivers. This was the final preseason game. They've had a couple of weeks to work on this. I don't know if they'll figure it out by Sunday at noon.
The roster that you have to work with. Yeah.
Okay, this one, and I know you guys saw me do this on an earlier video.
I'm really excited about our practice this year. Breakdown here.
Well, he's scrambling. He got caught from behind. It happens to everybody.
What you see, it's nice to see.
Ball security, and more so in a lack of awareness that somebody was behind him.
Get that ball out, yeah.
So here we have the same play. I'm just trying to remember how yeah. Let me get me. I got to get out of the way here. This is a live stream for anybody watching on Rewind, so that's my excuse for now. Back this up a little bit. All right. This is what I wonder about. And it's weird because he has some really good plays in the face of a blitz. He shows really good pocket movement at times, not just scrambling, but pocket movement, understanding how to move around in the pocket. But this one, and it involves a check down, right? So we've seen a couple themes so far. Sometimes with the check downs, he's a little hesitant, or it's not automatic. This one combines both, I guess, at least on this play, a lack of pocket awareness, and then he's looking off to the left, doesn't like what he sees. Watch the double clutch. I slowed that down. He knows where his check down is, and it's 1st and 10. So it's not like 3rd and long or anything. It's 1st and 10. That's an easy 4 or 5 yards at least. Get it to the back. But I don't know why he bails. He had time to throw. So that was a little bit of a curiosity. And then the one thing I just want to point out that we didn't see in the preseason, because I'm guessing Shane Steichen told him not to keep it at all on RPOs. But I know this is the Bengals' 2nd and 3rd stringers here, but this is an RPO where you can see the linebacker, the Mike linebacker especially, is coming up and he's playing the run hard. Colts offensive line does a really good job of making it look like run because they're blocking like it's run. They actually should have gotten flagged for illegal lineman downfield on one of these, but you get away with it sometimes. But if you look at the linebacker, he's filling. Richardson would have the green light to run on this, except this is the bind that it puts guys like the Texans linebackers last year. We're in this bind all day long, or nickelback, whoever that is there. He sees Anthony Richardson. He'd much rather come up and meet him in the backfield than try to tackle him in the open field. So comes down, opens up behind him, and boom, there you go. The other thing to note, just he's got his fakes and his operation in the backfield on the zone read stuff and the RPOs is really good. He's just got really good foot. Like he might be raw and unpolished in some ways as a passer, but he's really good with that. So that's my brief little look at our guy, Anthony Richardson, our opponent. Know your enemy, okay? Texans fans, don't think I'm sitting here heaping praise on the enemy. I'm putting, as Greg Popovich calls it, the appropriate amount of fear into your hearts. You don't want to go into these things with some kind of a cocky notion that you're not facing anything. Remember a guy named Vince Young? Remember Vince Young didn't really didn't ultimately pan out for him long term. Do you remember what he did the first time he came into Houston? Just like Anthony Richardson did the first time he came into Houston last year. I think this is a better version of Anthony Richardson from last year. And remember, in that first quarter that he played, he didn't do it just with his arm. He did it, or just with his legs. I mean, he scored the touchdowns with his legs, but Mo Alley Cox was really good to Mo Alley Cox. I think A.D. Mitchell's going to be a good player in the pros. But here we go. Let's see. I want to see these comments. Might be a bust, but he's fun as hell to watch, though. It's true. He is. I really hate that. Yeah, please like and all that stuff and subscribe. I really, honestly, I like the notion of Anthony Richardson working out, but I have no choice but to swear a blood oath that to pray for his failure. Yes, this too. Okay, Johnny, thank you. I had a couple clips in there, and I just didn't want this thing to go on too long. The touch right now, on some of the touch throws, he's just throwing it like he's trying to put a hole in a barn. He hits the barn more often than you want to believe. He's not as drastically inaccurate as some of his college film might have suggested, but he's not just, feathering it in there with layer. There's not a lot of nuance to it, but he does make on some of that underneath stuff, some of the deep stuff over the middle. He puts it right where it needs to be. I did get a haircut. I like to get the law enforcement special down at the diner. I'm not stealing. What's it called when you do it with the military? When you steal their glory or whatever. I'm just joking. I would never do that. Let's see. We need to get a mobile quarterback in the practice squad so they can be prepared for quarterbacks like Anthony Richardson. It is okay. This is stolen valor. Thank you, Luis. So no stolen valor here. Staunchly opposed to stolen valor. This is something that, look, it's a pain in the ass for every NFL defense. The Texans, because they have a hyper aggressive defensive line, they can be prone to being overly aggressive on RPO stuff. And that's where, as much as it's fun to say, oh yeah, it's it's a wide 9 defense and the defensive ends just get up after it and they don't worry about anything else. That's true in all except the very specific instances where you have to worry about everything else. And we've seen the 49ers at times, including Nick Bosa, as awesome as he is. Sometimes Nick Bosa will not recognize some of the traps and some of the screens and some of the things that are designed to take advantage of overly aggressive defensive linemen. And that's where I think one of the things that when you bring in Danico Autry, when you bring in Danielle Hunter, Jerry Hughes, you bring back kind of the mentors that you can have for a young Will Anderson. Mario Edwards and Foley Fatukasi are already really good at it. They've got a sense, because they've played in more structured and disciplined schemes before. They've got a sense for when they got to be alert for the trap, or they got to be alert for some of the misdirection. But it's really on these RPOs, it's the linebackers. Last year, the Texans defense, they'd succumb to play action all year long. And those linebackers, they wanted to crush people. They were good against the run, but like especially Denzel Perryman, who never saw a kidney he didn't want to lacerate, like he was hyper aggressive. So in that Colts game, in the final regular season game, you could see them consciously sitting back on their heels. And that's with Gardner Minshew as the quarterback, because they didn't want to be so overly aggressive against the run that they got eviscerated over the middle. Jonathan Taylor ended up going for 188 yards rushing with a bum ankle at the end. What you got to hope is that Alshire is just that much headier and that much better a linebacker, even without Christian Harris in the game, that you're going to get better linebacker play overall, both against the run and in the pass. But this is my old man moment when I watch football these days. And the one that like kind of gives me stress is thinking about trying to play linebacker versus RPO. You're wrong so much of the time. And now Jalen Petrie too is in that category because he's playing nickel linebacker a lot of the times when he's in there as the nickel. So that's a big challenge in my mind, more so than the cornerbacks. I think I'm looking forward to Kamari Lassiter getting tested. Daniel Jones chose to test Derek Stingley, and that's why Daniel Jones is who he is. But they're going to test Kamari Lassiter early and often, most likely. So I look forward to that. Lassiter's got experience going against Mitchell. So this is going to be a fun one. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to do a preview of the Colts every day. If you're a Colts fan, by all means, come in and, sleep with the enemy for a little bit. We'll slum it with you for just this week. But I'll block your ass. I'll block you hardcore. All right, everybody. Hey, thanks to BetUS for sponsoring the video. Another couple previews coming up over the next couple days. Like, subscribe, etc., etc. Also, just a little update. For the most part, I'm going to be trying to do all my live streams Texans oriented, and then my other general NFL content will be videos, but the live streams will be reserved because I want to grow the fan. I want to grow the channel some by doing general NFL content, but the live streams are reserved almost exclusively for all of you guys. So thank you, everybody. Like, subscribe.